What's going on, guys? Coach Vic here. Welcome back to another episode of the Ferrante Baseball Performance Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about chasing numbers. Okay, and what do I mean chasing numbers? Chasing number is the data and the metrics, not so much the stats. We're not going to talk about the stats, like the WAR and all those different things that have come up over the last, handful of years, but more so like the data like the trackers, the sensors, and the things that we use nowadays in the hitting world. I just want to discuss how I think they can be beneficial and how they may not be beneficial. Because I think with anything, any device or any kind of training method, there's always an appropriate time and place for it. It could be used at the wrong time. It could kind of be harmful. If it's used at the correct time, they could be beneficial. Okay, yeah, so before we even get into this, one of the keys to understand here about hitting or in baseball or performing as an athlete in any level, it was said by famous sports psychologist Dr. Ken Ravizza, and he said that if you want to control your performance, you must first be in control of yourself. And I cannot agree with this more. One of the big things that I missed out in my career was this very thing, was being able to, even just knowing and believing the belief that I could control myself. I used to make excuses why I couldn't. Well, that's just how I am. I'm Italian. I talk with my hands. If you're watching the video, you get what I'm saying. If you've met me in person, you definitely know a lot of hand gestures. So I just got temper. I'm just fiery. I'm just passionate. And I'd make all these excuses for why I couldn't control myself in the moment. And the truth is that I could have controlled myself, but it started with that belief first and foremost, was the mindset. Going back to what Ken Ravizza said, okay, one of the key concepts, mental skills that he created was the traffic light system, okay? And what I have done is I've learned this system over the years from Brian Kane, who was my mentor, was mentored by Dr. Ken Ravizza, and he taught me a 3-step release system. Okay, and what I want to do for you, I'm going to walk you through step by step what I believe is the number one mental skill to controlling yourself in the moment. If you control yourself in the moment, you're going to have control over your approach, your pitch selection, the quality of the swings that you take during competition, being able to perform under pressure, right? It's not the pressure that gets the people, it's themselves, right? People that perform under pressure, they are in control of themselves, so they don't feel the pressure that even us as spectators might feel. To get this free guide, if you're watching on YouTube, click the link in the description below. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, it's ferrantebaseball.net/free guide. If you're living and dying by the numbers, then you're missing the big picture. In my mind. Again, I'm biased too because I grew up in a generation, we didn't have numbers. I mean, when I played, which wasn't really that long ago, I mean, it was a while ago, but not that long, we didn't record exit velocity. Like, I hit balls like 500 feet over scoreboards, batter's eyes, like batter's eyes. How do you say the plural of that? It sounds weird. I never knew what my exit velocity was. I mean, the times have changed pretty dramatically in that sense in what we are measuring. I never got recorded velocity out of right field. I threw 95 off the mound as a pitcher the year I got drafted, but yet I didn't know what I threw in the outfield. It's kind of crazy. Nobody ever recorded that, right? And again, it doesn't mean that I couldn't. I mean, players of my generation, older players, couldn't have benefited from the numbers, but we figured it out, for the most part, organically. We figured it out through trial and error. And I do believe that this is something that I don't think you can really avoid it, to be honest with you. I think that ultimately, as a player evolves, and even if they are really heavy on the numbers, at some point they're going to realize that the numbers just don't work that well. Use the numbers as confirmation that you're on the right track. But the numbers shouldn't be, in my mind, the basis of everything. That you're hunting numbers. Okay, no. I want to establish consistent movements. I want to have a feeling that I can repeat over and over that yields me the results that I want. I don't need tech to show me that. I can use my eyes. I can use how it feels. I can see how the ball carries off the bat. I don't need numbers to tell me that. I don't know why some people, it's why it seems that we need numbers to tell me what a line drive in the gap, if it's good or bad, or if it's at the right angle. I don't need that. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but for how many years, 130 years, baseball has been around, and about 10 of it, 10, 15 maybe, has been really heavy on the numbers. And a lot of coaches base everything around numbers. If we're going to use numbers, we need to use them to confirm that your process based on feel, your experience, is creating a real result. That is an effective result that's going to translate into a game. That's it. So when I hear people talking about the feel versus real as if they are opposing forces, they're not opposing forces. It's like heads is better than tails. What do you mean? It's the same coin. It's the same thing. It's the same coin. It's two sides of the same coin. We need to feel your way there, because when you're in a game, it is very much more feel-based. You don't have the brain power and the focus to be able to go into, start thinking mechanically and thinking about numbers when you're trying to hit a moving ball off of a pitcher. Hitting is far too difficult to do that. This is often why most people struggle going from training or practice into games, and the results don't translate over. Well, it's because they're comfortable and relaxed in training. Even if you're getting challenged, I've done this before, I do this a lot. I'll challenge my hitters, I'll throw live to them, I'll throw them curveballs, I'll mix it up, I don't tell them what's coming. And I'm giving them good stuff, and they're taking their best swings, and they're barreling up balls. But then they'll go into a game and the swing's completely different. But it was challenging. I'm a better pitcher than their high school guys they face. So why is it different? Why aren't they able to put the same swing on their high school guys that they put on me in the cage? Well, first off, again, without getting too deep into this, is the mental state. If they're relaxed, they're more confident and relaxed in the cage. Even though they're being aggressive and they're being challenged, they're still relaxed, they're more confident, and they're attacking. And it puts them in a better place mentally to execute physically. So that is one big area that people need to understand. It is hitting and being successful as a hitter is much more of a mental state than anything else. Yes, the mechanics, of course, are important. Like, it's no-brainer. It's not even, of course. But your mechanics also the mechanics that you train in practice, they won't surface in the game unless you are in a particular mental state. That mental state is like opening the door to allow those mechanics that you train in practice to actually show up. And yes, you need to do the reps, but that doesn't matter. There's plenty of people that do the reps and it still does not translate to games. It's because they're in their own way. They're thinking too much. They're trying too hard. They're trying to control things that they cannot control, therefore getting in the way of their physical skills to come through. You can take a player that doesn't have great mechanics 90% of the time, but then when they click, he or she clicks, and they're dialed in for a day or two or a game or two or whatever, a weekend, their mechanics get better. Their pitch selection gets better. They're having more fun. They're loose. They're relaxed. They're focused. And they're playing to their potential. That is a mental state. That is not all of a sudden someone gave them a mechanical fix and then they just figured it out. No. So back to the numbers. Just the other week, There was a player returning home. Actually, I think it was Thanksgiving break. Player was home. He was in a cage with another hitting coach in the cage next to me. He kind of invited me into the conversation. His team is, the hitting department is focused on creating a 22. Yep, not 20, not 21, not 23 or 25, a 22-degree launch angle. And the drills that they were doing, whether it's in the cage, whether it was on the field, and if he's probably listening to this, hopefully I'm saying this correctly, but the picture that he described was that he would go and hit line drive base hits, backspin to the outfield, base hits. But yet the coaches were telling them that they're misses, that they're not 22 degrees. Every time I think about it, it just gets funnier and funnier. So this is what I think. If he's hitting a line drive back up the middle, it's probably anywhere from 5 to 15 degrees, roughly, right? If the pitch is coming in at 5 to 8 degrees, something like that, coming down from the pitcher. If you hit a ball right back through where the release point of the pitcher would be a line drive back up the middle, right? So that's anywhere from 5 to say maybe 15 degrees. To tell a hitter that is not good or that is a fail, you need to get to 22, is absolutely, it's atrocious. I don't even know what other word to use. It's just wrong. I don't say many things. I'm pretty open-minded to most things, but that, in my opinion, is wrong. So now you're telling a hitter when he hits line drives up the middle, base hits in practice. We're not talking about games. Practice. But what else are you supposed to do in practice? Right? In my mind, if I'm matching plane, whether it's front toss, it's a moving ball. And it's off the machine. I think it was off the machine in this particular case. And I'm hitting line drives back up the middle off the machine. Dude, my path is right there. My bat path is right where I want it to be. If I want to but that's not okay. I need to create more. So what happens when you try to create more? Your bat path is already good, but you want to create more lift, a higher launch angle. Well, then what do you have to do? You're left with trying to change your attack angle. And if you're changing your attack angle more and more up, well, now you're doing the opposite direction of swinging down, too steep down. Now you're swinging too steep up, which is going to result in either more pop-ups or topspin, rollovers, etc. So to think that there's people, coaches, organizations, college level teams, coaches telling players that a line drive up the middle is not what they want. We're not talking, this isn't professional baseball. This is college. I'm not sure what division. It doesn't matter. It's not pro ball. They're not going to have that many guys that are really putting the ball out of the park. I'm sure there's a few. But unless that's you, to nitpick a hitter, I just think that it goes against everything. And again, this particular hitter was asking for an explanation. He didn't understand. He didn't know what. And so I tried to help explain my opinion on it. But the problem with it is that the coach, the organization, is not explaining why. They're just chasing numbers blindly. And then anything that's not that number, which is crazy, that's so specific, anything that's not that number is like a fail, or it's incorrect, it's wrong, and it's not good. So now what you're doing is you're creating a little bit of an OCD. Now the hitter can't be free. He can't go up there and hit line drives. He's hitting line drives and he's thinking he's doing it wrong. And it's I've never heard of anybody that hits too many line drives. How many players hit too many line drives? Too many ground balls, too many fly balls, yes. Too many line drives? Nobody could hit too many line drives. There's no such thing. Too many line drives. If you hit too many line drives, you're in pretty good shape. Line drives do damage. Line drives produce. And then it's the line drives that elevate a little bit, depending on your power as a hitter. Then they turn into maybe a little bit more extra base hits, doubles, triples, home runs. Okay? So chasing numbers, it has to be a combination. We have to understand the other side of the coin versus like go get back to the feel versus real. If you're just like, oh, I'm on team real, but that doesn't mean anything. You're an idiot, because if you go into a game, you can't take a swing and look at your numbers. You have to go based on feel to get to the real that you want. Okay. Time has proven there have been many players that can get away with just feel. And the reason why I think that feel is almost like it's like your foundation. Everything should be based off of feel, like your ability to trial and error through the feel of your swing. Who cares what you have to think to get the real? It doesn't matter what you have to think. If I had to think about pizza and cheeseburgers, and that somehow magically helped me put the barrel on the ball, stay on plane, drive the ball in the gap and over the fence, does it really matter what I'm thinking about? But then everybody's going to say, well, thinking about cheeseburgers or pizza is wrong. It's not real. You know what's real? The ball going over the damn fence. The ball going in the gap. The ball's jumping off my bat with backspin into the outfield. The hard contact. That's real. So whatever it takes for me to get there, I'm fine with it. Feel versus real. The feel needs to come first. And then use technology to help confirm, right? If you see, oh, well, okay, I'm not quite getting where I need to be. Okay, let me adjust my feel. So I think if you work from the feel up, so go feel is your foundation, using numbers to tweak it and fine tune it, to create the feeling, the body intelligence, body awareness and intelligence to create that swing, because you'll always have that no matter what. The power can go out and your hit tracks or on your Rapsodo or on your blast motion, you run out of batteries, you can still hit. You can still get a productive workout because you're not basing everything off of numbers. You know how to do it without numbers. So that's my biggest pet peeve about the numbers is it's not that the numbers are bad. If you obsess over them, they become the foundation of everything. And then when you don't have them, you're kind of like lost. And so you don't want to be lost because you don't have numbers. You don't have a sensor, any kind of sensor or a kind of tracking device to give you feedback. You need to be able to find it on your own. This is just my opinion. Okay, I come from a time where I didn't have that. And now I'm not saying I did it all right. I definitely did a lot of things wrong. I could have definitely benefited from knowing a little bit more. So it's not that the information that you're getting, that players are getting nowadays is incorrect. It's just that it can be too much if that's all you are focused on. There needs to be a balance. Now, not balance as in 50-50, a balance as in a proportion, like a ratio. And I like to think of like a pyramid. The bottom of the pyramid is the widest. It's at its widest point. Okay. And then as you go up, obviously it gets smaller. So a perfectly balanced and one of the most perfectly designed shapes, most stable shapes is a pyramid. Okay. Wide foundation, and good luck trying to knock over a pyramid. Hence the Egyptian pyramids, why they've been standing for so long. Okay. We want to think of it in that way. That's balance. It's not perfect. It's not perfectly symmetrical. I mean, it could be symmetrical, but it's not balanced, say, from top to bottom. So anyways, we want that foundation, depending on what you're talking about. But in this case, we're talking about hitting. We want that foundation to be organic, to be intuitive, because when it comes to game time, it's all about that. You have to be able to focus on seeing the dang ball. Right? And you need to take whatever thought you need to help you achieve that goal. And this is why most of the greatest hitters that you hear talk in these simplest terms, even oversimplified terms. And some people think, well, it can't be that simple. Yes, it can. That's one of the keys to to success is keeping it simple. Take something that is extremely difficult and simplify it here. Because when you simplify it here, it frees up the body to do what you've trained it to do. This is why down to the ball for a lot of people. Down to the ball was, and again, there is truth to that. There is parts of the swing where the hitter does swing. It is a down movement. So even that, it's like there is truth to it. Okay, but people want to pick it apart. But either way, it's what you are basing your process off of. If your process is hitting a ball and looking at numbers, hitting a ball, looking at numbers, hitting a ball, looking at numbers, it can be too much if everything is based on numbers. Use numbers to confirm the feel. So if I have to think down, that's my feel. And I take 10 swings that are recorded on some device. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just peppering balls. Bam, bam, backspin, right center, center field, left center, backspin, just crushing balls, effortless, smooth, slow, smooth, quick to the ball, just boom. The ideal contact for 10 in a row. First off, I don't really care what the numbers say because that's what I want to repeat, right? But if you're curious, you can go to the numbers. Oh, let me see what those numbers are. But guess what? When you do that, you're not going to see your highest numbers if it's like an exit velocity or something like that. You're not going to see your highest exit velocity when you're just peppering balls into the gap. You're going to be somewhere, let's just say your highest exit velocity is 95. You might be 88, 85. But you're peppering balls in the gap. You're in control of yourself, in control of the barrel, and you're consistent. And that is more important than chasing numbers, is finding your consistency where you need to be, the feels that you need, and being able to adjust. Being able to adjust on your own without using the numbers, and then using them at an appropriate time in the right proportions. Using it to confirm what you're already doing. Using it to confirm that what you're doing is keeping you on track. Okay, guys, so hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. Once again, get your free guide, okay? Go to ferrantebaseball.net/free guide and learn the number one mental skill that's going to teach you how to control yourself in the moment, how to get focused, and how to perform under pressure, okay? Watching this on YouTube, link in the description. Listening on Apple Podcasts, ferrantebaseball.net/free guide. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next episode.